today I have with me Burt, the Burt, who specializes in marketing. And Tim, if you just want to introduce yourself a little more in depth, that would be great.
I'll give you a mercifully brief introduction. How about that?
Perfect.
Hi, hello, everybody out there. I hate that. Anyway, my name is Burt, and I do have more than 30,000 commercials to my name, which have sold over $500 million worth of stuff around the world. Coach, consult, speak, written 3 books, spent 25 years in the radio industry, 16 of those with the mighty CBS right here in St. Louis, where I live. And I'm also the inventor of a brand new revolutionary marketing tool called the QR Market. So that's me in a nutshell.
That's awesome. And I know, I want to know something first before we even begin.
Sure.
I want to know what got you into marketing. What is it about marketing that you love? What attracted you to marketing?
Ever since I was a little kid, I was absolutely fascinated, and I do mean fascinated, by the world of, you could say entertainment, but more, I was a real big game show fan, and I still am when I was a kid. And to me, I used to listen to, I was one of those kids that would listen to the baseball game on the radio under my pillow. I had a little radio, and I was supposed to be sleeping, but no, I was just fascinated with broadcast in all forms. I was fascinated with forms of communication in all forms. And it's one of those things that you're just born with. Can't explain it. It's one of those, it just felt natural to me, and I wanted to know more. And the path that I've taken to get where I am, I would not recommend to anyone. And if I turn this into a Hollywood script, I would probably get laughed out of the room, because people would say that is too unbelievable. There's just no way that somebody could do this stuff in this order that you've done to get where you are. And so when I have to recount the steps that I've taken and the path that I've done, and even writing it down, I look at it and go, this is crazy. It's just crazy, because I have no formal education. My marketing has won me no awards, and I guarantee you I will never win a trophy in a marketing contest. I guarantee you that. Because marketing now, it has evolved, and it's constantly evolving, but it has really accelerated. I would even say devolved in a sense over the last 15 to 20 years, ever since the advent of the internet. Mm-hmm. There's a delineation point that I always call it BI, before internet. So before internet, when all you had, but the only games in town were radio, television, and the newspaper, direct mail, billboards, things like that.
Right.
Totally different ball
calling.
Yeah,
calling is
exactly right. Cold calling, telemarketing, totally different ball game. Now, with the advent of internet and everything being video, it's almost like all bets are off.
Interesting.
Because back in the day when I started in radio, and we barely had fire, in those days, it was. It was almost casting a wide net. Mm-hmm. Let me just throw a bunch of stuff into a commercial. And let's just find out what sticks.
Right.
Can't do that now. Now everything is so hyper niched and hyper targeted. And you can, you can thank the internet for that. Facebook, all of the socials, Google ads, all that stuff, ad roll. Right. Now it's, who do you want to talk to? Where do they live? What do they do? What sites do they visit? Where do they live off of social media? So you can get, there's some benefits. You can get really, really niche, but that's the good news. The bad news is you can get really, really niche. And the bad news, and the reason I say it's bad, or can be, is it's almost like they're trying so hard, like they know their audience. And I just want to say everything that's going to make make my audience say yes. It's
Right.
never going to happen. Never going to happen.
So you think the current way of doing things is like there are benefits because you get more information, but there are downfalls because everybody's doing the same thing. So it's like almost information overload. So you almost have to change with the marketing times, right? Like you can't do what you did before. You have to adapt to the current and then, take it from there. So it's always changing and evolving, but you use the word devolve.
Yeah, there are elements of stuff that, look, there are things, and especially language, which we wanted to talk about. There are things that have been around since the 1800s that still are effective today. Like, for example, if I said, Nicole, if your house burned down today, do you have enough fire insurance to rebuild? Now, that is just that phrase alone right there.
Right.
Could have been used almost any time throughout history. Okay.
Yes.
And it would still work today.
Yeah, because as soon as you said that, that's the first thing I pictured.
Exactly. That still would work today. But what wouldn't work is back in the BI, before internet, back then it was, well, if you're not sure, call Steve Cream Cheese with State Farm Insurance and blah, 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 just this
Right.
litany of stuff.
Right.
Now it's let's make the problem worse. Let's really hit those pain points to really drive this home. So they're almost compelled. They almost are forced to say, "Oh my gosh, what do I do next? What do you want me to do?"
Right.
That's where we're at now. So, like I say, it's devolving in some ways. I think too many businesses rely on humor unnecessarily, and I've always advised my clients against that because humor is incredibly subjective. Not everybody's going to get the joke. Some people may be offended by the humor.
Right. You don't know what you're going to get. So let's get right into it then. So what are some examples of proper language to use in marketing? If you can just, throw out a couple of phrases or a couple of examples.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, and it's so prevalent now. It's the buy now button. Even if, the major retailers online, of which I'm not going to name, you know who I'm talking about, add to cart.
Right.
Okay. That's a pretty specific, explicit direction. Yeah. But when it says, when I see a button that says buy now or learn more,
Doesn't do anything for you.
Doesn't do anything. No. And the reason is because you have not entered the conversation in my head. We're all having conversations in our head with ourselves about a problem, a set of problems, or a desire. When you say to me, if the button says, instead of saying buy now, learn more, every button that I do on everything that I sell says the same thing. And that phrase is, yes, I want this.
Oh.
So it's the same thing. I'm just phrasing it in a way where it feels like I am inside of your head.
Right.
I'm reading your mind. I'm reading your thoughts. Do you want this thing? Is it? Yes, I want this. Boom. So the conversion rate, in my experience, in my opinion and experience, is a lot higher if it says, yes, I want this.
Just that. Just, yes, I want this.
Yeah.
Versus buy now or learn more. I've seen those buttons a lot. Learn more everywhere. On these email blasts. You see them quite a bit on email blasts. And also, like, what's your take on these long email, you have like these email marketing campaigns going, right? What's your take on like these long, like 3, 4, 5 paragraph emails? Do people actually read them? Because I see this happening everywhere in every industry. You see it often with coaches. What's your take on that? Because sometimes I just whip right through it. I don't read them.
2 things. Number one, an email is much like a commercial, especially now on YouTube Facebook. I mean, pick any place that you want. If you're doing a video or an audio ad, almost any place outside of a podcast or a traditional broadcast environment, it can be as long as it needs to be. But here's the caveat. It only has to be as long as it has to be. Therefore, if it's
you're not much help.
Well, no. So here's the thing. If your email is, let's say you use your example of 5-paragraph email. As long as those 5 paragraphs are really good, and it gets people to the point where they're going, oh man, I really, yes, I do want this. It doesn't matter how long it is. Okay. In fact, they're going to want more. But if it's 5 paragraphs of nothing but pure fluff, and so here, let me give you a super secret $10,000 tip right now. Keep in mind, my background was radio, so I'm only dealing with one sense modality, and that was sound. Okay, that was it. You couldn't touch it, you couldn't smell it, you couldn't grab it. It literally, I had to paint the entire planet. I had to paint the entire landscape in your brain, so you could see it. Okay. With video, totally different story. You got video and sound. So the first thing to keep in mind, it doesn't matter what platform you're talking about. The first line, aka the headline, really is the commercial for the commercial. Okay. So if that headline is no good, if that first line of your ad or your paragraph or your email or whatever is no good, people aren't going to read it. Right. Now, here's the caveat. It could be really good, but it may not pertain to them. And that's okay. That's okay. But the people that really want what you have, or they really want to know more, they really want to start going down this path with you, they're going to keep reading as long as each successive sentence builds upon the one prior. So it's a big mistake a lot of people make, is they will repeat themselves. So like I said in the first paragraph, no kidding.
Right. We
read this, we know. So every sentence has to push the story forward. Right. Interesting. So it doesn't matter how long it is, as long as it's good, it's relevant, it resonates with them. It could be, you've seen these really long sales letters, web pages that like scroll, and it just keeps going, and then you finally get down to the bottom. Okay, how much is it? Right. I don't know if you've seen those.
Oh, I've seen those.
Yeah.
I've seen those.
Yeah. But they do work if the content, if what you're saying in there, if what you're selling is good.
And if you're targeting the right people, like a big piece is targeting the right audience, right? So how do you learn to do this? Like, how do you learn to put all those pieces together? You could be a great writer, you can have a great product or service, but how do you know how to put this together? Let's say you're a new entrepreneur. I know you work with new entrepreneurs, right? Yeah. So, like, how do you do that? What's the first tip?
The first thing that I always ask is, does your audience want this?
Okay. Very simple.
You could think in your head, excuse me, you can think, this has happened to me. So it's happened to probably a lot of people listening to this podcast right now. I've come up with this thing. Oh man, this is going to be so awesome. We're going to make a ton of money. And then you realize that, yeah, the market needs it, but do they want it? These are separate things.
Right.
Do you need it? Yeah. Do you want it?
So the want is more important than the need.
Absolutely. Almost every time.
And what's interesting is, whenever you know the term needs analysis, right? You hear it all the time. We have to do a needs analysis.
The CNA.
So it should be a wants analysis. Really, right?
I've said this. I've worked with radio stations ever since I left CBS. I've been working with radio stations all over the world, and I would say your CNAs are trash. Mm-hmm. What? How could you say that? It's very simple. When you do a CNA analysis or CNA, every client needs the same thing. You know what that thing is? More money. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we know what they need.
Right.
That's not the question. The question is, how do they get it?
Okay.
So there's a difference between a client need analysis and an audience need analysis, ANA, or AWA, audience want analysis. What do they want?
Yeah. I'm going to call it a wants analysis from now on. I'm not even going to use the word needs analysis anymore after this conversation with you. We're going to go wants analysis. All right. So now, this is very useful information. This is great. Now, we talked about radio. We talked about, emails. What about over the phone? Any tips over the phone? Either warm calls to people that you know, referrals, cold calls, any tips anything that you can, think about that you've seen that people are doing right or people are doing wrong?
I think you could point at a lot of things of what people are doing wrong. Calling at the wrong time, calling with the wrong, they're going off the CNA and not the wants analysis.
Right.
Hey, do you need a new roof? No, just had it done. Sorry, thanks. Okay, fine. We talked about the car warranty thing, the extended car warranty. No.
Right.
Do I need it? Probably. Do I want it? No. Mm-hmm. Too expensive. So it really is. It's almost hard to give a blanket answer to that. It's very niche specific. As far as what to say over the phone, I would defer to somebody like you, who's been doing this forever and just
right.
You know what to say.
I know what to say, but I also know how to move on quickly, and I think that's a big piece too, right? Like if some, it's true. Like I don't know if it's good or bad, but I don't have the patience for nonsense anymore because I can hear it in people's voice. I can hear it in their tonality, like in their mindset. Are they there even? Do they even want to hear about this right now? Like I can pick that up, right? Where their head is at. And that's a big piece over the phone. That's a big piece, right?
Yeah.
It's the timing of, when that person answers, like, do they want to deal with you right now?
Well, and it could be,
don't.
well, it could be too, if you're sensing all of that stuff on the phone.
Yeah.
You just, you're in control to a point. Oh, I'm sorry to bother you right now. I'll call you back later. I'll try you later. Click.
Right.
Have a great day. Click. Okay. Now all of a sudden, well, at least you don't leave as bad of a taste in their mouth.
Well, they'll forget about you after 2 minutes anyways. Like people think, oh yeah, what are they going to think? And they're not thinking. They're just happy they got rid of you at that particular moment. Trust me, they're not thinking at all.
Well, just keep in mind, just to as an addendum to that point, the average person makes 35,000 decisions in a day.
Oh my God.
And if why make it harder for them? Why make one more?
Right.
Don't give them a reason to go.
Just get rid of this problem right now because they view you as a problem, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Regardless, I hear what you're saying. There is no magic answer in terms of magic words over the phone, but I think in writing. In your emails, in your approach, anything in writing, and then matching that with a follow-up call would make sense. Am I right?
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree. Here's one thing that's happened, and maybe you've run into this too. You probably run into this a lot. You have people set an appointment with you, and then, we talked about this, and then they don't show.
Oh, I hate that. How can you do that to me?
Okay, Now, if we were to draw out a map, a yes-no map, and we say, person sets appointment, yes. You show up on time for that Zoom call or that phone call or whatever it might be. and they don't show, or that in-person appointment, they don't show.
Mm-hmm.
At what point on that yes-no map would you, Nicole, say, let this one go? I'm not getting anything out of this one. At what point do you just say, okay, move on?
Well, I leave a few voicemails. With each industry, it's different. I don't overdo it. If I'm getting nowhere, I move on. If someone actually misses an appointment, they know they scheduled, that's a different scenario, right? I think that is just on its own very different. If someone misses an appointment, they either come back to me and say, oh, I'm sorry, there was an emergency. And if they do that, then I'll take another chance with them. But
Absolutely.
if they don't do that and they just miss out, am I going to really go and chase somebody that didn't have the respect to show up at that particular time and not even have the respect to tell you later that, I don't know, somebody went to the hospital or there's something like, something major happened, right? They got into a car accident or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be so dramatic, but at that point, then you know what you're dealing with. But there's a lot of flaky people around, a lot of flakes, right? And I have a very low tolerance for that kind of stuff. Somebody else might be, oh, I'll give them a chance. And I'm like, no, to me, that just says it all.
Yeah. And at that point, even if you do communicate with them again, would you just say something like, for instance, sorry you missed our appointment, etc. But if you realize that they're not gonna, this is a dead end, I would just close, or you could close it off with good luck, Nicole.
You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be you don't have to just cut them off, but you just move on and that's it.
Maybe right? You don't.
Oh, but some people do. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of, well, really? How could you do this to me? And then you get into that whole ego thing. And, it's such a waste of energy, right? It's such a waste of energy.
Agreed.
You ask me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would just cut that off. And it happens quite a bit with entrepreneurs. I'm sure you've seen it a billion times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I had $1 wherever, anyway.
Yeah, we're not going to go there. But anyway, look, I appreciate the time today.
Sure.
If there's anything you want to, end off with, a couple of phrases that people could use other than buy now. Okay, we don't want to use buy now. If there's any other phrases you can leave, people thinking about, why don't we do that right now? And then also let me know where we can reach you.
Yeah, of course. As far as phrases, I would suggest to your audience, if you're listening to this right now and you own a business or you are marketing a business, marketers and copywriters have this really bad habit of trying to zero in so hard, and so they're trying to drill as deep as they possibly can to get to that seed, that core, that nugget of where, let's just hit them in the heart. I understand that. My approach has always been, let me step back and really take the big 30,000 foot view first, figure out what they want, like we talked about earlier, and then go down, then start your descent into that area. It's like a parachute. I'm trying to hit this, but I got to adjust on the way down. Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. I think if you, that phrase, a funnel, well, you're not going to, you can drill down really far at the top of that funnel, but that's probably not going to yield you the best results. I would rather start big and then gradually start weeding out the people that we know aren't going to buy. Maybe they've gone 3 steps in and they go, this isn't for me. Great. We know that that's not what we want. We know that's not what they want. So as opposed to just specific phrases, aside from the, yes, I want this, I would rather think of it in terms, you should probably think in terms of really broad. It's like the example I gave you on the fire thing earlier. If your house burned down tomorrow, do you have enough fire insurance to rebuild? I didn't say if your upstairs bedroom caught on fire because of a bad or faulty wiring. No.
Too much information. You lost me. Right?
Start big and then start going down further down the funnel. So I hope that helps.
It does. Great example.
Yeah. So, as far as where to find me, I'm going to give you, my main site is marketingwithtim.com. It's marketingwithtim.com. And I also invite you to check out the qrmarket.com, which is actually linked on Marketing with Tim. So you can get there either way. But marketingwithtim.com, and check out the QR Market, which I do own Canadian copyrights on that, by the way. So
awesome.
In fact, I've got the sheet right back here. I'll show you. In fact, it's right there. So
I just saw it in French. There you go.
French and English, yes.
French and English.
So it's there. But that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Well, look, thanks so much for today, and we'll chat again soon.
I hope so. Thanks, Nicole.